Yeah, I think it hit 80 degrees. It
Yeah.
was nice.
Yeah. We have exciting news since our last live, because on our last live, we were crossing our fingers that we were going to be closing on the 24 unit project that we were working on.
There were some
Um,
delays.
there were some delays, as is with this project that we were doing. I think as is with a lot of larger projects, but as is definitely with this one. We don't think it was gonna go out smoothly. But we finally closed. We
We
did
did.
it. We did it.
Congratulations to all of our partners, everybody
Yeah.
involved, and huge thank you to our team. We definitely couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah, it was quite the journey, and everybody stuck with us, even though it was a bit topsy turvy, curvy, turny, whatever. Uh, but yeah, we closed on it. We're starting like all the stabilization, getting everything moved over. Obviously, we learned a ton through that process, and I mean, I would say we're excited for the next one. I think there's still some work we need to do on this one before we move on to the next one, but it's definitely going to make the next one that much smoother. So,
Yeah. And
yes.
obviously we learned a lot throughout the process
Yeah,
as well.
definitely. So, yeah, look out for some updates on that. It's like I said, it's going to be a fun stabilization period. We have an incredible team that we're working with. And that kind of brings us into what our topic today is as well.
Yeah, it's a good segue.
Yeah. Because we're going to be talking about network today. And the reason that we came up with the idea of talking about network today is because our network is really what got this project to the finish line. Tapping into our network, tapping into the resources that we had, and tapping into the right people to get the project. And I think that's pretty common with any project you're doing, tapping into the right people to get it across the finish line.
Yeah, and we're not just talking about like professionals, we're talking about partners, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about everybody involved is a part of our network.
Yeah. If you are new to our live today, before we dive in too deep, welcome. If you're joining us again, welcome back. If you are new, these are very casual conversations. We'll have a topic, and if no one chimes in, we just talk. But we really do encourage you to get involved in the conversation. That's why there's no structure. It's to allow as much interaction and conversation as possible. So please chime in if you have something to say. Let us know you're here. Say hi. And
if you think anybody would get value out of this, then please share it. Share it. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube. And this video will stick around on our YouTube as well, so you'll be able to watch it later if you weren't able to tune in live.
Yeah. Actually, we have another piece of exciting news. Maybe we'll save that until the end. We did talk about it last live as well, but we'll talk about it again this time. So make sure you stick around to the end.
Yeah.
But it also has to do with your network as well, interestingly enough. I feel like everything has to do with your network.
Your network is your net worth.
That is true.
You know what they say.
That is true. And I think that's something that we really learned in the 24 unit.
And over the last, really since we started investing, right? I just feel like it's accelerated in the last year.
Yeah.
But it's something that, I don't know, it's kind of drilled into everybody, especially as they enter into entrepreneurship.
We did do a talk previously about community. So there's going to be a little bit of a tie-in with that discussion about community and how important that is. And this specifically about your network is really coming from our journey from the 24 unit. So what do you think about... Hi, Ali.
Ali says jazz hands.
Jazz
Love
hands. What do you think about our network and as far as the 24 unit went and the importance of that?
I love our network.
Okay.
It has grown. It has grown significantly. And that's really what I mean by accelerated in the last year. And I think having this deal and working on this deal and really pushing to bring this across the finish line has grown our network significantly.
Yeah. And I think where we saw that a lot, like tapping into our network, there was a point in the process of this deal that we weren't sure if we were going to be moving forward on the deal or not. And we came to a point, it was almost like a crossroad. Like either we need to bring on some power for this project, because it was a big project. It was our first larger multifamily project. So, we'd done some smaller multis before, but this was our first larger, $6 million deal that we were tackling. We were in the like duplex range.
We skipped over. A lot of people do like the fourplexes and sixplexes, building your way up 10 units, maybe 12, but we just kind of skipped all that and went.
Yeah, we just went for it. We were like,
right
what, why?
For the jugular.
Yeah, like why not? Why not just like
go big or go home?
Yeah,
right?
Go for the gold. So, which we did, and we got to a point, and we knew. So we had other deals that didn't go through prior to this, but didn't go through because numbers didn't make sense. Like something just didn't work. Something didn't feel right. But this project, we were like, this feels right. We know this is a good project. We don't want to let this one die. Hi, Christian. We know this is a good project. We've negotiated a killer deal here. So there's no way that we want to let this die.
Yeah.
But we did get to a point that we were almost at a crossroads where we were like, either we bring on some power for this or we let it go. Yeah. And we take the learnings that we've had and move on to the next one. And it was really when we realized like, no, we're bringing on some power, we're going to do this, is where we realized how important having a network is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having the right people in our network.
Because that's really what allowed us to ultimately bring this across the finish line.
Yeah.
Was tapping into that power within our network.
Yeah, we had done a lot of work to create relationships in the year and a half before we did, well, it's even the 5 years before we did the project. I think specifically I said year and a half because that's when we've really been working on our network and really focusing on it. But realistically, this started 5 years ago.
We joined a coaching program a year and a half ago, and that's really what kind of pushed us to get outside of our comfort zone and build our network and be purposeful.
Yeah. And
intentional with building our network.
Yeah, and providing value to our network and being present for our network and, spending that time to actually nurture the network. And we got into a period where we were like, we've been nurturing this network, we've been nurturing it, we need to tap into it now. Yeah. And the only reason we were able to continue the project was because we were connected to the right people, the right person to bring on board to bring the deal across the finish line. So I know for a fact that if we hadn't been doing this for the last year and a half, hadn't been working our butts off, showing our network what we are capable of, nurturing 100%. Our network, the deal would never have happened. So, for us, it also meant partnering, right? Like it meant giving a piece of the pie to somebody else that hadn't been there through the
But that's insanity. What we preach. That's what we do, right? That's typically how we build our deals, is through partnerships and through equity share.
Yeah, and we were okay with that because either the deal falls apart or
we get nothing.
Yeah, or you get zero. We've done all this work, we've created this amazing deal, and we get zero, or we tap into our network that we've been, creating. We tap into that, bring them on board, and then we push the project across the finish line. And I think what also happened that was really cool is we tapped into our network, brought somebody on board, and then they tapped into their network. So we brought on somebody who had a bigger reach and a bigger network than we had so that they could tap into theirs and bring their people on board to get the deal across the finish line. So, I don't know, I had this moment that I was like, almost like we couldn't do the deal on our own when it was first kind of happening. And that was like, I was a bit disappointed that we weren't able to do it. But then I realized that we did do it because we were able to tap into the resources we had created. Like we did that. We created that network. Exactly. And yes, we needed the network to get it across the finish line, but that's the whole point of having a network.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool realization that I had, that I went from like disappointment of like, we need to bring in
couldn't
help.
Do it on our own, but it's like, wait, no, we did. We did do this on our own.
Yeah, because we're the ones who created that network. So that was a really cool moment for me to realize, like, no, I did do that. right? Like we did do that because we did create that network, and that wouldn't have been there if we hadn't put in that work beforehand.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like that.
yeah, it was a roller coaster of emotions. But how I want to talk a little bit about how we built our network, because obviously, like, it's very clear that the network was really important to where we are right now.
Yeah.
But that took time. That wasn't something that we just had and then was sitting there waiting for us and we could tap into it when we wanted to, right?
We weren't born with the network.
No, definitely not. I mean, I think some people might be. Like, some people are born with a bit of a network.
Born into a family that is basically a giant network. But
yeah. Well, that's not us.
No, I mean, when we started our real estate journey is when we started to build the network. And I mean, a lot of that at the beginning was really, and I mean, not just only the beginning, but going to networking events, right? Going to real estate events, hanging around the people that are like-minded to you, that are doing the things that you want to do. If you're the smartest person in the room, this is often said, if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're probably in the wrong room, because then you're not growing.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. So a lot of networking events. And then, I mean, social media reach. Social media is a very, very powerful tool if you use it correctly.
Yeah.
And that's not actually, I saw somebody made a post today that they basically said, if you're just adding people to add people on Facebook and not sending them a message, then what's the point? I thought that was very interesting. And it's true. If you're just adding people to add people, yeah, okay, maybe you're extending your reach a little bit on social media, but those people don't know who you are. They don't know what you do unless you're really sharing and being very transparent with everything on your posts. But you should be adding value, messaging people when you are going to add them, like, hey, we're in the same space, love to chat with you, whatever, right? Just reach out to them and actually indicate why you're adding them, instead of just doing a blind friend request kind of thing.
Yeah. Or if you are adding people and maybe you're not necessarily reaching out to everyone, but at least like be active on your social media so that they know like who you are, what you're doing,
and what you're up to.
Not what you're up to. Obviously, ideally, you're connecting more one-on-one with somebody, but even if like, you know, you miss somebody, you're not able to connect with everyone, at least be super, like, be active, be out there, be adding value, because then you're going to attract people within that network to reach out to you, and then you can have the conversation that way. But what it comes down to is whether you're reaching out to them or they're reaching out to you, the idea is to actually connect.
Don't just be friends on Facebook.
Yeah, and create a bond. Like if you have a Facebook profile and you're just adding a ton of people and then you're never posting or ever interacting or like doing anything with your Facebook or any social media. We're using Facebook because that's where we are, I'd say, the most active. But this is really the case with any social media. If you just like have the account, that's not really, and you have people on it, that's not really enough.
Yeah,
you need to be doing stuff.
My mind goes to maybe trying to raise capital through Facebook or something like that. And then, okay, you found a deal. You haven't posted anything on your Facebook, but you have, I don't know, 2,000 friends on there. And then you have a deal and now you start looking for capital. Well, nobody knows who you are. So why would they even consider investing with you in you?
People on the chat, they're not coming through on the other. A friend. Right. Oh no, just saying they're watching. That's okay. Hey. I mean, I've had people reach out to me that I've never really spoken to, like trying to raise capital, and I was like, I don't even know who you are. Yeah. Like, you're not a part, just because they're in your social media network. Hey,
we'll see you this afternoon.
We'll see you soon. Even though they're part of your like social media network, that doesn't mean they're a part of your like network. I don't know how to like.
Well, you haven't built a relationship with them, I think is the key, right? You need to be building relationships, and that's the true power of your network. Your network isn't just your reach. That doesn't mean, just because you have 5,000 friends on Facebook and you maxed it out, doesn't mean that you're close with those 5,000 people. I find it very unlikely if you say you are, because it's just so hard to keep that many close, meaningful relationships and nurturing those relationships. Connecting with somebody once and then never talking to them again doesn't really get you any further.
Yeah. It helps. Like, I mean, at least you're doing something to create a relationship, but it's really, like Jeff said, is the nurturing piece that's really important, because you want that like ongoing relationship with somebody. Yeah. And realistically, you don't want to be doing business with someone that you don't have any sort of relationship with, because you don't know how you're going to work together anyway. Yeah. So
know, like, and trust, and then beyond that, have similar goals, right?
Yeah.
You really want to make sure that you guys are in line, especially if you're getting into like a real estate deal. That's like a 20, 30 year
could be
business relationship. And you want to make sure that you guys are aligned in your goals and what you're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. So as far as like building your network, I think there are a ton of ways that you can build your network. And for a lot of people, it's really uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you're someone that's watching, you're like, I don't want to build my network, it's scary. Don't feel alone, because it's scary for, I'd say, the majority of people. There are some people out there that are really good at networking and they love it, and that's like what they live for, and it never gets tiring to them.
Looking at you, Christian.
I mean, we definitely know people like that are really good at it. And some people even appear to be really good at it, and actually it makes them super uncomfortable. I think you're actually one of those people that you always fool people that you enjoy networking, and that
do I?
Yeah, I think you do.
Do people think that? Oh my goodness.
I think you fool a lot of people.
I'm what am I, an extroverted introvert?
Yeah.
I'm an introvert at the core, but I have some extroverted tendencies, and especially if I'm in a group of people that I'm comfortable with, then I'm like an annoying extrovert almost with those people to an extent.
Yeah.
And then once the attention's on me, then I'm like, whoa, that's too much. Way too much.
Yeah. So I think it's important to remember that it's not comfortable for most people. So put yourself out there and be uncomfortable with the rest of us, and that's fine. Like, if everybody's uncomfortable, then is everybody then comfortable in a way? Like, no, everyone's just still uncomfortable.
Two wrongs don't make it right.
Okay, well, we try. But realize that you're not alone in that, and that it does take a lot for most people to push themselves out of their comfort zone to do that networking. But it's so important to do it. And this is something that, I mean, especially because we have people in our network that are incredible networkers. Like I said, they don't get tired by it. They're in rooms. They love people. Not that we don't love people, but they love people always, like always being around people. Like, that's where they get their energy. Whereas we are people, I think both of us, to a certain extent, we need our alone time, and we need time away from groups of people after we've been with them for a long time. Yeah. And it is uncomfortable to get in those situations for us. So I know, I shouldn't say we. I know I struggled with that at the beginning, because I was like, how am I ever going to become this person that can like walk into a room, command the room, network with everybody, get to know every single person in the room, keep those relationships, because it takes a lot of work and a lot of energy. But if you're someone who gets energy from that, then it's easier for you. Mm-hmm. So,
those are the extroverts.
Yeah, the extreme extroverts that like don't need any time alone. So I struggled with that at the beginning, and I was like, how do I build my network if I can't be somebody who's doing that all the time? And I was talking to someone within our network, and who I've become good friends with, and he basically was like, whether you're introverted or extroverted, it doesn't matter. You have your strengths to build your network. If you are an introverted person, you're more likely to stick to fewer people, so maybe you don't command an entire room, but you can get to know one or two people on a deeper level than you would have if you worked a whole room. So it's not that one is better than the other. It's just there's different strengths that come from being an introverted person or an extroverted person. But obviously it takes you getting a bit uncomfortable to put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, so, it's almost at that point it's quality over quantity.
Yeah. When
you're at those events. And yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat as you with that one. The same person made me realize the same thing. So it was a light bulb moment when that kind of realization happened.
Yeah.
when it's like, yeah, okay, I do tend to stick to maybe one or two people at a large networking event and have longer conversations with those people, but I'm building that relationship to be a deeper connection than if I was to just go and hand out my business card to all 500 people at the event. Well, that's not necessarily going to leave a big impression on the people that I spoke with.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's not that one is better than the other. It's not that someone who's super extroverted can't create a deeper relationship with multiple people.
They just do it in a different way.
Yeah, they just have the energy to get to know more people at an event than someone who is maybe more introverted, which is fine, but just lean into the strengths that you have and don't
know your strengths.
Yeah, know your strengths and don't think of it as a weakness. Take your weakness and turn it into a strength. And be okay with getting a little bit uncomfortable, because that's how you're going to start to build your network. Because a big part of it, unfortunately, is going to be meeting people in person.
Yeah.
Which is scary sometimes.
It's not COVID anymore.
No.
I don't care what people say. COVID's over and in-person events are happening.
Some people beg to differ right now. There's a lot of people
listen,
who got COVID recently.
we're not getting there. We're not going back to that.
Yeah.
We're back to in-person events, and it's just the way it is. You have to, you can't just hide behind the computer screen anymore.
There is something like we do a lot of Zoom calls as well, and there is a power with Zoom where you can connect with someone who, like, we're in Ottawa, in the Ottawa area, so we can now connect with people who are like Calgary, Saskatoon, somewhere BC. Like, we can connect with people all over, even into the States. So there is a lot of benefit from having technology like that. But
by the way, if you're in Calgary, reach out. I'm coming your way.
Yeah. Make a friend. Network with Jeff. Only one or two of you, though.
Listen.
Don't
it's okay if it's...
Don't flood the gates.
If we're just chatting, it's okay.
Yeah, so there's a power behind Zoom, but I think a lot of people over COVID forgot how much deeper of a connection you can create in person. And I started going on like weird coffee dates with, not Jeff, with people that I want to build a network with, that people that I want to have
for coffee this afternoon.
Yeah, that one we are going, Jeff and I are going together on a coffee date. But you know, that's something that would have made me super uncomfortable years ago, that I have to go and like meet someone that I don't know at a coffee shop and sit down and drink coffee and talk to them, and I don't even know who they are. I mean, I kind of know who they are because like they're with kind of outside of the network, but
it's easier when you have a common interest, though.
Yeah,
it's not just like a random date.
Would you have done that 5 years ago?
I don't know. I think so. I feel like I did do that 5 years ago.
Maybe.
I hated, actually. I did hate going to, like, I remember one of the very first networking events that we went to. It ended up being a very powerful event for us, but it was awkward. Mm-hmm. I didn't love it. I was very, very much outside of my comfort zone, and I didn't fully understand why at that point either. I think that was the difficult part.
Why you were uncomfortable?
Like, no, why do I need to be? I kind of knew why I needed to be there, but at the same time, I don't know. I was so new. I was just like, am I in the wrong room? Like, do I have the right to be here? I think that's what a lot of people struggle with that as well. Is, do I have the right to be here?
Yeah, that's true.
Especially when new.
I used to run meetups in the Ottawa area, and albeit have a lot of newer investors coming that maybe hadn't even bought their first deal yet.
I didn't have the right to be there. That was women only.
What?
That was the women's event. That one? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, that one. Yeah, okay.
Is that not what you were talking about?
No,
you were talking
that
about
wasn't what I was talking about.
Never mind.
But I used to run meetups, and I'd have women that would come and actually tell me exactly that. Like, I haven't bought my first deal yet. I'm just kind of interested in investing. Like, I'm kind of bridging into that right now. And I would tell them, the fact that you're here, the fact that you're at a networking event, that you pushed yourself to start to develop your network and learn how to become an investor, makes you an investor really on its own, because you've invested in yourself and you've done more than the average person would. So, you know, don't feel like you shouldn't be here, because it starts somewhere. And you've already, just being here tonight, you've invested in yourself and done a lot more than the average person would. Mm-hmm. So I think you realize that as well.
Yeah, I did.
So biggest thing to build your network is just get out of your house. Yeah, some Zoom calls, but get out of your house. Go to meetups. If you're in real estate, go to business meetups. Go to other meetups that aren't real estate related. Be the real estate investor in the room. Still go to real estate meetups as well. You don't have to not go to those, but expand your horizons. Build your network outside of what just real estate meetups are.
And not just meetups. Join a community.
Yeah.
I feel like that has been
that just creates a network for you.
A major, yeah, true. A major accelerant in our journey has been joining a community, because now you're basically, you have a network kind of pre-built for you. It's just a matter of building that into your, like, making that become your own network.
Yeah, I think
building relationships within that community that's already built.
The cool part about joining certain communities, and I think it depends on the community you're joining and joining the right type of community, but what I found was joining the right type of community, you already have something that kind of binds you, because you already, like, you joined the community for like a similar reason. You already have some sort of similar goal, because that's why you joined the community. It's going to be a little bit different person to person, but there's going to be some underlying similarities in that. So a lot of
that's why cults are so powerful.
I wasn't going to go there.
No, it's true. I just read a book on hype, and they were talking about basically cults and how they're built.
Yeah.
But
it's I guess it's similar concepts, right? But like you guys are all like, this community is coming
Ali,
together.
let's do it. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah. I love it. Like, you guys are, like, everybody's coming together within that community with some sort of similar goal. Maybe not necessarily going towards one goal, but going towards their own goals, but they're similar. And a lot of relationships are developed over having some sort of common ground, some sort of similarity, some sort of common goal that you're trying to reach. That's where relationships get really strong. So when you're joining a community, you're joining a group that already has some sort of like-mindedness, some sort of common goal, something that you can relate to. So by doing that, you're expanding your network very quickly. So all you have to do is be a little bit active in that community, and suddenly the bond that was already there without you guys even talking strengthens, because there's already like groundwork basically created without you doing anything. But you have to join the right community for that, not just any random one.
Yeah.
So the only other thing that I wanted to mention regarding the importance of community is the fact that if you create a community network, we did one on community already, having your network allows you to also, as long as you have good relationships within your network, allows you to also tap into that person's network. So as you build relationships with somebody, and as you kind of form that bond with somebody, if you need something, if you need a service of some kind, and you've already put value into that relationship, and you've planted the seed, you've nurtured the seed, if you then need something, you can go into your network, and those people can reach into their network. So someone that you aren't necessarily connected to already, but you are through, it's like the LinkedIn, right? Like second connection, third connection. They can connect you to people within their network. So it's not just the people that you are directly connected to. It's also the web that they're connected to that now you can have access to, because you've nurtured that relationship with them. Obviously, you have to do that nurturing, and that's really important. That's why we keep going back to the relationship. But if you nurture that and you feed that value is going to come back to you. It's part of like human psychology that, there's the give and take. If you give somebody something, they're going to want to give you something in return. Yeah, reciprocation. So remember that. Remember the importance of that piece of the network, because you can then tap into such a wider network and continue to grow it rapidly once you've created that like tighter network around you.
Yeah. The good old question of who do you know?
Yeah.
Who do you know that would be interested in this?
Yeah.
Whatever. in our power lunch. Who do you know?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Who do you know that would find this valuable?
Share it with your
share
friends.
It with them. Yeah. So network, super
We did tap
powerful.
it. You talked about that a little bit at the beginning because we did that.
We did.
We did that with our 24 unit. We tapped into our network, who then tapped into their network. So it was kind of a domino. No, I don't know. What's the real link?
I don't know.
Expanding your circle.
Yeah. So
they say, well, obviously I'm going with all these cliches here, but your network is your net worth. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? So if you can expand your network, expand your circle, and hang around the people that are doing the things that you want to do, that's going to bring you to the next level.
Definitely. So network, super important. Helped us get a deal done. I'll help you get a deal done too.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this and we're not a part of your network, let's change that.
Reach out.
Yeah, definitely reach out.
You're somehow associated with us.
Yeah.
If you're watching this,
there's already some sort of a connection.
Find that link or just reach out to us directly.
Definitely, we're always building our network. We always want to meet new people, see how we can work together with other people. We are, we love partnerships. That's how we operate in our business. We like growing with other people. So definitely reach out, grow your network while we grow ours. You never know what's going to come of it. Let's grow together. Exactly. One last piece of exciting news before we sign off. I have to get the date because I forget it. But we are going to be doing a talk that I'm very excited. Oh, you have it up already.
It's up on the screen.
So if you want to know more about our... Welcome back, Abby. You came at a perfect time.
There we go.
If you want to know more about our 24 unit, about the negotiation that we did to bring that 24 unit to the finish line, how we created, I think it was over $700,000 of equity on a new build, like a newer, both buildings were built in the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. This will be the place to do that. We're going to be doing
hold on, you kind of glazed over that. I feel like that needs to be said again. Can we put an echo on that?
Over $700,000 of equity on
built-in
new builds.
Built-in, that means money on the buy.
We'll be going into a deeper dive on how we did that negotiation. It's also an opportunity to network, which is why I said that this is also on topic. So if you're in Ottawa, October 18th, we'd love to see you there. If you have any questions about it, reach out. It's going to be at KS on the Keys, which is...
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm just learning where it was now, or where it's going to be.
There you go. Now you know.
We're all learning together, guys.
So we'd love to see you there. If you have any questions about it, let us know. But if you want to learn how to negotiate a ton of equity on the buy,
guys, it's only $25. That'll be the best $25 you've ever spent.
Huge value. We always love to bring the value. I mean, I think hopefully you've seen that from these lives, and it'll be no different on October 18th.
Live and in person.
Yeah, and you get to come and say hi to us, and we get to meet you. Cool. All right. So if you have any other questions, let us know. Otherwise, we will see you next week.
Same time, same place.
Yep.
12:30 Eastern time, Tuesdays. Every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Live on Facebook, live on YouTube.
Yep.
If you're not subscribed to our YouTube, subscribe.
Yep.
Lots of value in there.
Otherwise,
and we're adding videos all the time.
Otherwise, we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.